All right, fifth graders, it is time for lesson 1-6. This is definitely a tricky lesson. We are rounding decimals, and it says I can round decimals to different places. It does relate very closely to what you did in fourth grade with rounding whole numbers. So if you were good at rounding whole numbers, you'll probably do a great job with rounding decimals, except for when everything turns to zeros in whole numbers, that's fine, you have to. In decimals, because it's part of a number, we actually are going to be dropping some decimals. I just realized my pen is very leaky. All right, hopefully it's fine. So in science class, Marcy recorded numbers from an experiment as 12 and 87 hundredths, 12 and 13 hundredths, 12 and 5/10ths, and 12 and 8 hundredths. Which numbers are closer to 12? My first question I have to answer. And which numbers are closer to 13, and how can you tell? And then she says you can use structure to help determine what number is halfway between two whole numbers. Show your work. So I notice here that this is the whole number 12 and then whole number 13. And in fifth grade, we learn about what's in between the whole numbers. Okay, we learn about decimals. So I can use these little marks here and count them to see how many parts are in between to help me come up with a fractional answer. So we have 12 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 parts, which is expected because we're dealing with decimals and that's a base 10 system. So this one right here is 12 and 1/10. This one right here is 12 and 2/10. Now I'm not going to label all of them. There we go. Just make those a little bit bolder. But we do have 12 and 3/10, 12 and 4/10, 12 and 5/10. This one's going to be important. 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. So if this is 12.9, we're going to have 10/10, which 10/10 make a whole, and that's why it goes up to 13. Okay, so let's do the first one, which is the easiest one, 12 and a half. 12 and a half, 12.5, 12 and 5/10 is smack dab right in the middle. So we're going to put a little dot here and label it 12 and a half. This is going to be important. We're going to talk about that in a bit. 12 and 87 hundredths, 12.8. If this is 12.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, this is 12.8 is equivalent to 12.80. Oh, it's really blurry, sorry. 12.9 is equivalent to 12.90, okay? And now I know that in between all of these are actually 10 more notches. Now I'm not really counting there, but we have 12 and 81 hundredths, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. We have all the hundredths in between. So we have 87 hundredths is about there. 12 and 87 hundredths. Now, if I really zoomed in and had like a little mini microscope here, there's actually 10 more marks in between each of these hundredths because that would be the thousandths place. Now, thankfully for us, there's nothing in the thousandths place up here. All right, let me zoom back out and hopefully it stops getting blurry for you. So we did 12 and 87 hundredths. We did 12 and 5/10. Let's try out 12 and 13 hundredths. So 12 and 13 hundredths. This is equivalent to 10 hundredths. This is equivalent to 20. 13 falls in between 10 and 20, and I would say it's close to about there. So we're going to call that 12 and 13 hundredths. And then finally 12 and 8 hundredths. This one always seems to trick people up a little bit. But 12 and 8 hundredths is less than 12 and 10 hundredths. And it's going to be on this side. So that's about 12.08. Okay. Why is this important? So she does say you can use the structure to help determine what numbers are halfway between two whole numbers because it does ask which numbers are closer to 12 and which numbers are closer to 13. Well, any number on this side of the halfway point is going to be closer to 13. So 12.8 would round to 13. 12.5 is right in the middle, and in rounding, when we have the middle, we just go, everything that's in the middle does round up. So halfway does round up. Now, these amounts down here, anything on this side of the halfway point is going to be rounding down to 12. So 12 and 800ths rounds to 12, and 12 and 1300ths rounds to 12. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I do not expect you to use a number line every single time you're rounding, because that would be crazy, because we have all of these to do. So the next part of the lesson will teach you how to round the more traditional way, what you learned in 5th grade or 4th grade. But for now, here is kind of the method to part of the madness when rounding. The look back says, what is the halfway point between 12 and 13? So we have 12 and a half, or 12 and 5/10, which is equal to 12.5. And is that closer to 12 or 13? It's actually neither, okay? This is kind of like a trick question. Neither, it's right in the middle. And when it's right in the middle, we round up. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a lot of camera issues today. But that is 1-6, solve and share, and look back. When you're done with this, go ahead and flip. And let's do the essential question.